Did you hear about my next upcoming game?
No, do you actually do games?
Yeah.
Wait, aren't you a star?
Yes.
Why are you making games?
I'm going to use my fat loads of cash to do a cool soccer mobile game with buildable structures and team versus team.
Actually interesting.
It's cancelled.
What? I wanted to play that game. You already canceled
I got one much better, way better.
Okay, this doesn't look much better.
It's cancelled then.
What?
Nah, I don't
just
like
saying it looked kind of Overwatch.
I got one much better, way bigger map. It's massive multiplayer online. How about it?
Okay.
It's going to kill World of Warcraft. It's cancelled. Let's talk Amazon Gaming Studios. When the Amazon company announced that they were creating a gaming division, I had mixed feelings. On one hand, gaming development costs too much, and if you got the money to tank some bad performances, gather some good talent, and actually go through the years, you can actually develop good games and have a good shot at competing with the big ones. On the other hand, we got a company that's known for its greed, monopolization mentality, and complete minimum viable product approach to everything they do. So I had really mixed feelings about what Amazon could achieve. Back in 2014, the landscape of PC gaming market was already starting to change, and we were starting to see some forms of aggressive monetization seeping into the gaming market. But even in the face of all of that, Amazon still had the potential to shake the foundation of companies like Electronic Arts, Activision, Ubisoft, and other names that were pretty big at the time. The course that Amazon chose to navigate could heavily impact the gaming industry. But if we are actually making a ship analogy, well, Amazon is kind of the Titanic, right? Badly managed, a giant, colossal thing that everybody thought that couldn't sink, but under the bad management, everything can happen. To first understand why I keep saying that Amazon had enormous potential, we gotta understand why money helps in gaming development. And you might think, oh, that's pretty obvious, right? You have more money, you can hire more people, more talented people, and the more people you have, the faster you can output the games and more money you have of income, right? Completely wrong. Gaming development is not right at all. I guess most of you know this by now, but it doesn't matter. We got so many cases of success and failure, and you might think, oh, we know exactly what we should and shouldn't do. But even when you follow that strictly, it is not guaranteed that your game will be a success. And sometimes following the norm and the rules might actually make your game less successful. And not knowing how the industry will behave to your game releasing is exactly why money is so important. With money, obviously, you can hire good talent, you can develop good strategies, and you can actually think. This is the best part of money. It's not developing the huge, biggest scope you can do and investing all of your money into one single game. But it means that if you have enough backup, you can actually tank a few bad releases while your team gather knowledge and experience and synergy working together and develop a lot of different pipelines that will help them in the future. It's not only about this experience they will gain, but actually the experience working together. This actually makes a lot of difference. And why tank bad games? Well, many of the great players today, even the ones you might consider not AAA, like From Software or Larian Studios, have been making games for more than 20 years, some of them over 30 years. Obsidian and BioWare are barely the companies they were back in the day, but they also are that old. But going back at my comments about monetization landscape and Amazon's gaming service, Amazon made it clear from the get-go what their point with making games was. They claimed they were here to make some casual to AAA games, but what they should actually have said is that they were here to try and monetize the hell out of the gaming industry. Curiously, the game that they would announce in the future were all online hyper-competitive games, so obviously they were looking to sell skins, loot boxes, season passes, and all that jazz. I mean, we have seen already what happened with the mobile gaming industry, right? They don't put too much effort into monetization. They just develop OP, overpriced, pay-to-win mechanics, develop problems that they later try to sell you on the cash shop, So it's really predatory and not customer friendly at all. Oh, not to say anything about the psychologists hired for some of these companies to actually develop good strategies of monetization and convincing people to spend their money. Some of these even targeted at children. When Amazon announced that they were actually starting to develop games, they grabbed some big names like King Swift from Portal game, Clint Hawking for Far Cry 2, some developers for System Shock 2, among other names. And this is a good strategy. This is actually a green flag, right? They are grabbing experienced names from the industry, so they don't need to hire a whole team of people who do not have experience and have to bang their head against the wall until they learn some of the most basic or even advanced stuff, right? If they have experience and talents that can actually share this with their younger workforce, they can actually develop faster than an indie company would do. And this is one of the points that having a good amount of money actually helps. But then they proceed to say they wanted to make games with teams of 5 to 30 people with a time schedule from around 1 year to 18 months. What the hell? This is completely crazy. Anybody that knows anything about gaming development knows that if you want to make a game in 1 to 1.5 years, it's probably a really small scope game. I know people made games in that amount of time back in the 90s, but the end result was very different. What the hell, right? Is this Mass Effect again? Is this Fallout New Vegas? This is textbook big company wanting to do the minimum viable product possible. Disgust is the only feel that I can feel when I read such glaring lack of knowledge about gaming development. These are utterly dumb words for someone that is managing a gaming studio, unless they plan to make small scope games, as I said. But Amazon was saying that they want to make some AAA games, so it doesn't make sense at all. So once again, we got a big company with a lot of money thinking they can apply the minimum viable product mentality to games and will earn more money because they are the first ones to think about that. They are so smart. This is nepo baby knucklehead talk for dumb investors to fall in. Just a bunch of buzzwords and no knowledge about gaming development. I believe that many of these statements that Amazon keep doing over the years, and some of them are even contradictory, are not exactly statements of somebody who has a laid out plan for what they want to do with their gaming development studio, but more someone who wants to talk buzzwords that will actually get attention and raise shareholder value. We fast forward to 2016 and they announced they were going to make 3 big games. Their names were Breakaway, Crucible, and New World. None of them were single player, all live service online games. Breakaway was their first game. It was a team versus team football or soccer game for my American friends. The game looked like a mix of Dota meets Rocket League, or even Deadlock in modern times. It didn't look bad at all, and I just got to know about this game while I was researching for this video. Yeah guys, seriously, I didn't know about this game and I was taking a look on it to do this video, and it actually looks kinda cool. With your regular blue versus red team, we can clearly see the League of Legends influence on some of the designs, but also on the interface, and overall it was clearly a hero-oriented game. Probably Amazon was seeing the bugs in selling skins, season passes and loot boxes, but the game genuinely had a fun premise, and I can totally see myself having fun playing this with friends or even randoms. And guys, this is true. While I was researching the game, I was taking a look and I actually wanted to play that game. I really wish Amazon hadn't canned it. Breakaway also had some integrations with Twitch, and while I didn't research too much what these integrations were, I think that's a smart idea already, right? We know many games that popped off because some streamer decided to play it and it actually got famous. So going for the whole Twitch community and streamer mentality and trying to foster the game inside that, it was not a bad idea at all. That also coupled with some of the strategies, you could build some structures. The game was in a small map, there were some skill shots, abilities, and there was a lot going on that actually made the game look really fun, packed, and it had a lot of potential in my opinion. But Amazon decided that the game was not achieving the breakthrough they wanted, and it was put down in a hiatus in 2017 and then officially cancelled in 2018. Not achieving the breakthrough they wanted? With their first game? Like they're developing their first game and they want a breakthrough on the gaming industry? Can you guys see how the wording of what Amazon communicates always extrapolates to the most absurd objective in the world? It's just telling and paints the picture of their true colors. They want all the money in the world, as James Stephanie always keeps saying. With that absurd objective of breaking through the gaming industry with their first debut, maybe the other two games Amazon was creating could achieve that. Maybe Crucible was the one to achieve that breakthrough, right? But guys, you know what's strange to me? If Breakaway actually looked like they had some innovation, and even though, you know, if you picked their mechanics individually, there was nothing original there, the game looked really promising. I told you guys, I was looking at the game and I was kinda like, wanted to play that game, kinda sad that I didn't have the chance. But Crucible, it just looks like Teemo Overwatch. Overwatch from Wish. Look, I'm not saying the character design is horrible or that the game looked horrible, but you know, it didn't brought anything new to the table, and if they thought Breakaway wasn't innovating or didn't have a breakthrough, I don't know what they got in their heads to think that Crucible was it. This game I actually knew before this video, but I never had any faith in this project from the get-go. Also, let me point out that both these games, Crucible and Breakaway, seem to over-design their characters with a lot of elements, and it generates kind of a visual pollution, but I guess it's okay, it's alright, it's kinda their first game going into this, right? Initial complaints on the game's release tell us again that Amazon's lack of knowledge about gaming development and their drive for the minimal viable product was something that did not help this game. The game balancing system, the size of the maps, and the combat pace were big complaints on the release. These are problems that can, to the best of my knowledge, be ironed out with testing and going back to the drawing boards to analyze the test and refit your game to face these issues. I'm guessing Amazon wanted to release this game quickly too, as they said their plan was to take 18 months tops with games. Again, I believe that was just executive throwing buzzwords to increase shareholders' value, but their games tell the same story. And even with all that, the game wasn't met with overwhelming general negativity. People could look into the goods of the game, and some of them were actually hopeful that Amazon would stick with the game and actually improve it and maybe even compete with Overwatch. Releasing in 2020, the pandemic era saw a rise in the games industry as everybody was stuck at home playing games, like a huge portion of the world. But that wasn't enough to hold players in, and Crucible decided to enter back into closed alpha state. This might have happened before, especially for free-to-play games, but it was a first to me, especially from a big company like Amazon. A game releasing like that and then going back into the alpha stage or closed alpha stage. Dude. And then, after a while, it was official. The game was also cancelled again. By now, Amazon has farted millions of dollars and set everything on fire with dumb decisions that honestly feel like snap decisions without analyzing the big picture. Two games that had the potential to actually get back to surface with enough funding and time. Two things Amazon definitely had in their hands, but ultimately decided to rush and can both of these games' projects because they probably didn't met their ludicrous expectations. Now, all of the eyes were into the third and only surviving sibling of this cursed family that is the games developed by Amazon, New World. If you thought that Amazon would at least try one game that would be kinda a platformer, a single-player adventure, or maybe a co-op oriented game, right? You would be completely wrong. They only tried to go for the live service competitive games, multiplayer ones, because they wanted the sweet money from the monetization these games have. Amazon had $sign for their eyes, and they were only seeing the bucks, the cash, the dough. They were only in for hyper-monetized gaming genres, so obviously their next game, after failing 2 live service, would obviously be a huge, massive multiplayer online undertaking that would shadow all of their previous attempts. also aim to kill WoW. And look guys, I won't sit here and pretend that I am well versed in multiplayer games, MMOs specifically. I do not tend to play a lot of massive multiplayer games, so my knowledge on them is very restricted. But New World actually looked kinda cool, deep, and you know, even though, yeah, I expected the game to come with a lot of problems, especially since it's Amazon, it seemed like it had a lot of potential, coming not from me, but from people who actually play a lot of massive multiplayer games. I mean, at this point I know you guys are tired of listening to me saying that Amazon had a ton of potential with any of these games, but this one is huge, it's bigger than the previous two. Breakaway wasn't enough to convince Amazon, and Crucible wasn't enough to convince players. But New World actually had a much higher population count, and despite its ton of stupid problems, the game had a huge amount of people actually rooting for its success and genuinely loving the game they had. I won't go into too much details, but management of that game is confirmed by leakers to be the worst possible, with the top head changing its mind each day as to where the direction of development should go, and having zero knowledge about games and not listening to the experienced devs they hired. His name is Mike Frazzini, if I recall correctly, but let's not chalk it down to only himself. I believe that his behavior in the Amazon gaming division, not listening to the experienced talents that they hired, changing ideas willy-nilly, not having any deep knowledge about gaming development and how gaming works, and trying to ham-fist and force all of their executive ideas and crazy monetization schemes into these games, changing their development directions willy-nilly, and you know, the consequences are there to be seen. And it actually, when I was googling about this, I tried to use in terms like, oh, Amazon development, problems, leadership, and I wasn't finding anything, almost as if somebody was trying to scoop the internet from this information. It is crazy how executives always try to run away from the blame. You know, they are leading the team, but when the team fails, it's everybody else's fault but theirs. It's about time AI replace these obsolete executive jobs, right? All they do, I'm sure it can be replaced by AI. By now, you guys already know the drill, right? Even their most successful game wasn't enough, and they couldn't admit their faults and just canned the game once again. As if it was the game's fault and not Amazon's approach that killed their momentums. Amazon even had the goal to announce that they were working on a Lord of the Rings MMO, you know? I mean, this was before they announced that they were canceling New World, which happened a few days ago, a few weeks ago maybe. But it's crazy because it's not as if they decided to cancel New World all of a sudden, you know? So they probably were thinking about doing this Lord of the Rings project, and either they changed their minds mid-development, or they already knew that they were kinda, nah, we might jump the ship off. It's crazy, it's crazy. Either these decisions were made like this, or they were already planning on leaving, and what were they doing? Amazon Gaming Studios deserves to die, not because of their devs, who actually output amazing games considering the stupidity that the management of their gaming division presented, but because Amazon's intention themselves were never good to begin with. And by good, I don't mean, oh, they are the saviors that want to create the best game and charge the fairest amount for us. By good, I just mean creating good solid games that will last long enough for them to monetize the hell out of it. But in a statement, their former vice president admits that they actually wanted to topple Valve? Where the hell did this came from? You guys were in this to topple Valve? Dude, come on, your games were so horrible. I mean, the games actually had a lot of potential, but your performance were so mediocre that companies like GameMule probably have a higher success rate than Amazon Gaming Studios. Actually, I'm taking a look at the script here, and the words that I use are much harsher. Much harsher. If you guys think that I'm being harsh to the executives of Amazon Gaming Studios, in what world did these executives thought that they were actually competing against Steam? They never even came close. Not as a developer, not as a storefront, not as a hardware developer. What? Where is this coming from? this is hallucination. They are inhaling human feces. But to pretend Amazon was in the same realm as Steam, they were not even in the same realm as Ubisoft, even in their worst. Being a dev, I am probably hurting my chances in the gaming industry saying this, but these guys are complete and utter morons. The level of incompetence to botch these many games with that much money just goes to show they do not possess the ability to make things profitable. They are only able to deal with scenarios that are favorable to them and have zero adaptability. These executives shouldn't even get jobs as executives, but they always get a free pass for the next company to run into the ground long term. I'm not just trying to talk about the statement that Ethan Evans made and stand this guy out, but this statement is pure BS. Amazon didn't want to topple Steam, they just wanted in on the gaming industry and thought they could be the next Goliath using all the cash they had. They ignored the experienced staff they hired, they set goals that didn't match the norm of the gaming industry, and they made wrong moves every turn. They didn't take accountability for what they were doing wrong, and they acted out of their own misconceptions while also having the funds to not do these mistakes. Amazon's performance as a gaming company was laughable at best and criminal at worst. Their lack of care and stupid decision making, along with no new original ideas or even letting anything have enough development time, has caused them to have 0% success rate with any of their release games. All told, even though I just talk shit about Amazon's executives and their leadership and the Amazon gaming studio as a whole, it is actually a sad story. They had a lot of potential, their devs clearly had a lot of talent, and they hired some big names that they should have listened to. Once again, I brought up that Mike Fazzini guy. There's a lot of, not a lot, but there are some articles talking about how these executives' mentality were far from what the gaming industry actually needed, and they were hurtful to these games development. The company had all the funding in the world to disrupt the big companies. All of them were afraid of what Amazon was going to do, but they managed to do a complete decade with only dumb and wrong decisions all the way. With games that frankly all of them seemed pretty solid ideas, but had nothing original going for them, and were not allowed to be on the oven for enough time. It seems that all the money in the world was not enough to buy ears, you know, so their leadership could actually listen to their own employees and also their audience and public feedback. But it seems that they just picked all the dollar bills they had, shoved it right into their ears, and thought they were going to be a huge success on the gaming industry. Now they are living with their tails tucked behind their legs, and with a success rate that is worse than GameNew. I'm serious, GameNew, the company that developed Gollum. They have more success rate than Amazon Gaming Studios. I'm without words, I'm at a loss for words. And that's it, my guys, this is the video. What do you guys think about Amazon Gaming Studios? To me, it is crazy. I thought they were going to invest in New World and actually come back from it, or maybe they were going to... I don't even know why I keep thinking about that. After Breakaway and Crucible and New World, it's clear the best thing that they should do is just cram and don't try to do any more games again. I want to know your opinion about it. If you are new here, I thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe if you liked the video, dislike if you didn't like it. Tell me in the comments what are your thoughts about gaming Amazon Studios, what you want to see me talking next, and I'll see you guys on the next gaming news. Bye bye, guys!